Hey everyone, it's your boy Matt again, coming to you from Ainsley Homeless Village, and today we are talking again about crime in the National Disability Insurance Scheme. Now, I'm going to return to Humanity Health Group. I'm going to talk about Fred Cicchini and his business practices because that man is a criminal. Bad things should happen to him. If there's anyone I could lynch, it would be that man. And I'm not kidding about that. I would kill him if I could. Now, Fred Cicchini ran a very large con. He runs an organisation called Humanity Health Group. Humanity Health Group is a very large healthcare conglomerate in Australia. Fred's background was that originally he worked at Headspace. He ran an NGO, at least as sort of like a regional manager. He's really a skills psychologist. I wouldn't even call him a psychologist. I'd call him, hey mate, doing well. I'd call Fred a counsellor. I'm getting all these issues when I'm talking with these other psychologists and stuff. I'm finding a lot of the people who go through these registration accreditation programs, regardless of if it's the 4+2 or a clinical masters, less so with the clinical masters, aren't really psychologists. To be a psychologist, you need to be able to keep track of your assumptions about things, and you need to have a body of theory on human nature which you've built up over time, which is based on research and evidence, which is verifiable. Fred's just the cool kid from high school. That's it. He's not a psychologist. He's just registered as one. It's an issue that we have with the profession, and it's something which can't really be changed unless we start having industry-specific tickets. That's what they do in industries such as cybersecurity, is that you'll do a ticket on, okay, this person can test your systems to make sure it can't be hacked. They did that program through this accreditation agency. They can now do this thing. Psychology just needs a whole heap of tickets like that. Like, okay, this person can perform CBT, this person can do a diagnosis. Because someone like Fred, they end up being part of the professional community without knowing what epistemology is, without knowing their research methods, and they end up just being these jocks who end up running shit which is science and healthcare related. I'm not saying you can't be a jock. I've enjoyed that Oka Alpha part of combat sports culture. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying you need to be more than just that. And Fred really is just that. He's not much more than it. Now, what Fred was doing is that he was running an Uber health business. So with healthcare, your doctor, I'll use doctor of medicine as an example. They have a duty of care for you because you could die because you might be sick, and they need to be able to keep track of you, and they need to be able to know what's going on, and they function as sort of like a community role, okay? Like historically, we had doctors, we had this stuff provided by different services in the past. Some of that's private, some of that's public, but the main thing is your doctor is responsible for your health. We have these big codes of ethics that we have to memorize, and we're meant to be held to these standards. If you're not held to those standards, supposedly you're meant to get a little bit of a spank on the bottom, and then you start doing it. In reality, the only people who get, the spanking is bullshit. The APRA doesn't have the ability to do it, and the discipline is too politically fragmented to be able to have that kind of disciplinary system. But what Fred did is that he tried to find a way where he could make money without, through healthcare, without providing that responsible service. So what he did is that instead of having a building in a place, having managers and people who are part of that community, who know the people around it, the culture, who are keeping tabs on the people who know how their employees are tracking, know what their employees are capable of. Because remember, I worked from home. This guy knows fuck all about me, and everything he comes up with is speculation. So, and he set up the business like that. He set up a business where he can't know the actual capabilities of an employee and the actual situation, and then blames everyone else when things go south. It's like, mate, you set up this system like this. So with Uber Health, what happens is that we go out to your home. There's no business, there's no physical bricks and mortar business, and this is intentional. Because if you have a physical place, that means that you need to pay the rent for it. It's a big expense. But when you're not doing that, you don't have that ability to keep track of your team, right? And what we do is that we deal with complex shit. We deal with people who are killing themselves. We deal with child abuse and child safety problems. I know Fred's got some experience with that because his skill set is Machiavellianism. His skill set is how do I maintain power and how do I make sure that I stay at the top of the popular guy in high school. Because that's the extent of the individual and psychological development this guy's been through. He has not graduated high school yet. Now, you got these, so you set up this business, and then what I found is that I come into this caseload where no actual work has been done, but somehow this person kept their job, that counsellor who was in the position beforehand. And then I come in and I start working with these clients, and I find that they're all these very high needs clients who have a lot of terrible things going on, and that my business has not actually provided a service, and they've just had money taken from them with very little provided for them under the previous psych. So I find this out. I do a lot of the work, and then I understand how this business model operates. So remember, I've got a business degree. I studied work psychology. I'm actually a lot more qualified in this shit than Fred is. I need to make that clear. Like, I have expertise here, Fred, right? I'm sorry to say this, you might be older than me, but you're not on my level. Right? And that's not neurodivergence talking, that's fundamentally, I just know my shit, Fred, okay? And what you did, right, is that I then had a fucking biff with my boss, who has no idea what's going on in Canberra, because they're not here. They don't know me well. They don't know the clients at all. They have no interest, and worse than that, they're not here at the end of it to have the blowback in their face for when they fuck up, okay? Right? It's very important to have the people who are managing your society and your community in your community, because when bad things happen, they need to be able to be pointed at and shunned, right? If you aren't actively a part of the community, then what can happen is that you can get people who do weird psychopathic shit like Fred. So he was running this thing, and basically these people who were coming out, they were basically just bill collecting for the on these NDIS plans without providing much of a service. And I know this because I got to read through all their case notes. And they were providing counselling in a technical sense, but no actual increase in capacity was happening with any of the clients because they weren't using actual counselling modalities, to my understanding. And if they were, they just did a bad job. Now, I'm checking this. I got a client who gets billed something like $1,100 per hour of therapy, and I realize that I'm a cog in a very corrupt system that this bloke has constructed. Okay? Now, I complain about that to my boss, and then I find myself not only fired, I find myself under electronic monitoring. I have this guy dox my fucking porn account and all this kind of shit, because the rules and the game that this guy plays is the high school jock game. He hasn't graduated from high school, and the entire culture of that organisation was not so much different from that. And I understand that many organisations are like that, but you need to also keep into account the scale and the importance of this work. And as a person who's studied organisational culture, who knows what a good organisation culture looks like and a bad one, I'm sorry to say, Fred, you did not make the standard. But there's this entitlement, and it's part of the way that our society is structured, that because we're a capitalist society where you just need to have the money to own the business to be able to partake in this power structure, we end up with situations where people like Fred, their voice is given some respect when it really shouldn't be. And this jackass who has no skill in work psychology, research methodology, who is clueless when it comes to the actual community he is servicing. I understand at one point he may have lived in Canberra, but he certainly wasn't fucking around here when he was here, when I was doing the work, and he definitely was not clued into the evils of the corporate structure he had created. Now, as a person who is the group CEO of Humanity Health Group, you'd kind of want that person to have this kind of technical skill sets. He doesn't even have an MBA, right? So if we're talking about qualifications, Fred, you just weren't there, and you're just not there, right? And that's why you did this evil and stupid shit. And I am still suffering from your inadequacy. The Canberra community and my clients are still dealing with your bullshit. And I'm trying to use your complete fuck up, your very public fuck up, because I know that you function at this high school level where, you know, a little bit of an embarrassment actually might be a big thing for you, because I don't think you've matured past that. I think you still think of the world as a continuation of that play school ground. You're really fucked up, Fred. Now, it's been useful for highlighting issues in the NDIS. That is your place as a historical figure in healthcare and psychology, in the textbooks, in the case studies. Your name's going to come up, Fred. It's going to come up with your business model of Uber Health and the fallouts which have occurred because of it. Now, there is not an issue necessarily in having sole practitioners doing work like this, but those sole practitioners need to be quite senior, and as a person who's been trained into the field, it was not appropriate what you were doing. Just in general, and the general attitude you have, where you look at a situation and you look at the individual characteristics of the employee rather than the system, is the problem. It's not what we'd expect from someone at your level of management. It's an obvious skill deficit. It's a skill deficit that we would expect someone to. It's strange to have. Most CEOs have an MBA. I'm not saying you need an MBA. I'm saying someone with an industrial psychology skill set probably should be running things. And a patchwork solution for you would be to take a step back. I don't think you should be the CEO of Humanity Health Group, but I understand there might be some shareholdings there. How about you just get an industrial psychologist on your central team, okay? Or how about, I would say recruiting another CEO to do your job, because you can't do it. There's just a lack of ability there to be able to produce good critical thinking. So you need to find some way to get a person on your staff who can do that for you, because you don't have the ability to do the kind of analysis I can. So you need to find someone who has this kind of analysis. It's going to be difficult because when they come on your staff, they're going to realize what a complete ass you are, and they might not stick around. But this is something which is necessary if you want your company to keep running into the far future. Maybe the next decade, maybe it'll be fine, I don't know. But eventually standards are going to improve, and you're going to find yourself in a situation where not only are you the poster child for a horrific, truly terrible healthcare business model which has caused a large amount of suffering to the community. Not only are you going to be known as the person who implemented that, eventually you're going to be the person who's kicked in the bum out over it. It might take a while, but it could happen. And it's something I pray for. I don't believe in God, but this is how much you infuriate me as a person, that I've gone to the point of praying to God for something to happen to you, Fred. Because you've really been a problem to a lot of people. Have a good day, everyone.